Hello, everyone. Very good morning. It's a pleasure to meet you again in another workshop in a virtual workshop series. I can see a lot of repeated attendees. I'm happy to see you all again. Good morning. Before we move forward with the session, let us do a quick audio and video check. If you can hear me, see me, and the slide deck that I'm sharing with you right now, please acknowledge to the chat window on your left. All right. I hope you can hear me. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for that. So let's just wait for a few more moments for rest of our attendees to join the session. And while you wait for them, my colleagues will be posting the links to our social media handles right there in the chat box. Please do follow us and keep yourself posted on upcoming events and other workshops that we plan for the region. And in case you happen to miss our previous workshop, not to worry, we will be sharing the recorded link with you. You can have a look at it at your own convenient time. And even today's workshop is going to be recorded end to end, and that recording will be shared with you shortly after the session. Let me quickly check for our attendees. All right, we do have enough number of attendees. So without further ado, let me move forward, starting with an overview of Showtime. There are a couple of tabs towards your left. Let me point them out one by one, starting with the Questions tab. If you have any questions during the session, please be sure to post them in the Questions tab. This will help us answer all your questions one by one in an orderly fashion, and this also ensures that none of your questions go unanswered. And then we have the polls. We will be rolling out a few polls throughout this workshop. Please do participate in all of these polls to keep this workshop engaged. Then comes the chat window. We've already met there. We'll all be active right there in the chat window. However, if you should face any issue with the audio or video, you could always let us know through the chat window. If you should face such an issue, I would suggest that you refresh your browser because majority of the time it tends to solve the problem. And last but not the least, we have the handouts wherein we've attached a PDF with help links that is aligned towards today's session. You can download them anytime before the session ends. The topic for today is automating a repetitive sales process with blueprints, and this workshop is powered by Zoho CRM. I'm John Wilfred, an evangelist with Zoho. So is my colleague Anjana Mahesh, and we will be your host for today. On the Q&A, we have Shravani, who will be answering all your questions while your trainer Pamela is going to take you to the hands-on training session. And just before we start, please make sure that you have signed into your Zoho account if you wish to mirror our actions. And you may need admin privilege to access certain features within Zoho CRM in case you wish to try them out. And please avoid experimenting with any of the existing settings. If you wish to try something out, do create a test instance that you can get rid of later after the session. All right, guys. So, do we have any questions? I know it's too early for questions. However, I do have a question for you, and that is going to be the first poll for today. So, have you ever chased the wrong lead? I think most of us would have been there. Okay, yo, perfect. Sometimes it happens. All right, thank you so much for your participation. I will have this post open. You can join this poll any point of time. I'm going to quickly display the result and hop on to today's agenda, which is going to be an overview of blueprints followed by the hands-on session. And finally, there will be a FAQ review and a recap before we wrap the session. But that's it from me. Thank you all so much for your time and patience. Without further ado, let me welcome Pamela to take the session forward. Pamela, the virtual stage is all yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this session today. My name is Pam, and I'm happy to be delivering this session. Today, I'm going to explain what is Blueprints in Zoho CRM and how it works. By the end of this session, I'm sure you will be able to design your own blueprints. All right, without any further delay, let's get started. What is a blueprint in Zoho CRM? Blueprint is the online replica of your offline business process. Any organization, they will have their own business process. In that business process, they will include lot of steps. In other words, they will include lot of steps or stages or different states. And the organization will instruct all the users to follow the same process. The same can be implemented using blueprints in Zoho CRM. So, in simple terms, any organization they will have their own business process. In that business process, they will include lot of stages. The same thing can be implemented in blueprints in Zoho CRM. But why do we need this blueprint? I already have my own business process and it is going well and good. But why do I need this blueprint feature? If this is your question, then I can answer your question using a real time example. You can imagine that I have a printing company. So, in our printing company, we print cards, coupons, entry tickets, brochures, any type of cards. So, this is just an example which I have taken for today's session. So, when I get an inquiry phone call or when someone visits my company, I'll get leads basic information like first name, last name, email address, phone number, and other information required for my business like how many cards are required, delivery date, and what type of card they are looking for, and other business related information. And I'll create a lead in the leads module in Zoho CRM. So if I create 50 leads in a day, do you think that all 50 leads will immediately provide orders to me? No. They will ask me to follow up. So I have to follow up. I have to either call them or I have to arrange for a meeting and I have to follow up and I have to get their requirements. So if I create a lead in the leads module, it's not necessary that this particular lead should go ahead and purchase a product, but it is the duty of our sales experts to follow up with them, get their requirements, provide more information, and then convert the leads to contacts only when the leads are ready. It's not when we are ready, it's only when the leads are ready. So this process is called as lead nurturing. So once after converting the leads to contacts, you can associate deals. Deals are nothing but the potentials or opportunities. So initially we'll be creating leads in the leads module. If this lead is an individual, you will be entering first name, last name, email address, and phone number. But if this lead is from a specific organization, then you will be entering the company name in the company field, which we have in the leads module. So when you convert the leads, leads will be moved to contacts. That is, leads will be converted to contacts, and the company which you enter in the company field will be converted to accounts. So, in simple terms, accounts are nothing but the organization where the contacts are working. Leads will be converted to contacts and accounts, and we will be associating a deal to the contact. So, here is where my business process starts. And last month, I hired few new users in my company and I arranged for a team meeting to explain the same business process to them. I told them clearly that first we create lead and then we'll convert them as contacts and accounts and then we'll associate a deal. And in the deal, again, we have a lot of stages. Definitely, you all should have used the pipeline in the deals module. We have a lot of stages in the pipeline, right? So the first stage is qualification. So first we need to qualify the deal. After which, we need to propose the pricing, value proposition. This is the second stage. Next, negotiation. So, in this stage, we can provide some discounts to the contacts. And then you can mark the deal as either closed won or closed lost. If the contact is finally okay with my deal, then I'll mark the deal as closed won. Otherwise, I'll mark the deal as closed lost. But when I move the records, I'll not be moving the records from one stage to the other stage, but we will also be performing certain actions, correct? It could be either a phone call or it could be a meeting. So whenever you perform certain actions, you'll always update the record in Zoho CRM, correct? So even in my company, I follow the same. Whenever I am working on deals, I'll call the customer and I'll update the notes. I'll attach the necessary documents in the attachment section, and I'll update fields, and I'll send emails. So these are referred as some of the common actions which we have in CRM. So once after creating a deal, first we'll qualify it, and then we'll share the pricing, that is value proposition. Then comes negotiation, and then finally, if the contact is okay with my deal, I'll mark it as closed one, or I'll mark it as closed lost. So this is my business process, and I explained the same to all the new users. And they said they understood the process very well. And further, I added that we're not moving the records from one stage to the other stage, but we are also performing certain actions. So I included those actions. Once after qualifying the deal, I would like to update notes and add attachments so that when other users in my company access that particular deal, they will have more information. So it would be easy for them to follow up. So I want all my users to add attachments and update notes in the notes section. Only then my users should move to the next stage, which is value proposition. So here we'll be proposing the pricing. And if customer is looking for any kind of discount, yes, I have asked them to provide some discount, but it should be less than 10%. So even by mistake, my users, they should not provide more than 10% discount. So here I would like to provide some discount, but I would like to validate the data as well. And only after providing this discount, we have to move the deal to the next stage, which is negotiation. And once after negotiating with the contact, we can mark the deal as either closed one if the contact is willing to purchase my product. Then I want my users to send an email to the owner and the owner's manager, that is record owner and the record owner's manager. If the deal is closed lost, then I want my users to add a tag stating that deal lost. So tags are nothing but keywords which are used for our reference. So you can create your own tags and add it in the records. So this is my complete business process. And I explained the same process to all the users, that is all the new users. They said they understood it very well and they started working on the deals. But here is the problem. You know what happened? Some of the users, they did not upload any attachments, whereas other users, they did not update the notes section. So because of this, other users, whoever accessed that particular record, they don't have any information. If they have called the user, they have to update the notes, but they did not follow that instruction. Because of that, other users who access a specific record, they don't have any information in that record. So few users, they did not update notes, and few other users, they did not upload the necessary documents, whereas other users, they did not provide the discount. And I asked all the users to send the email if the deal is marked as closed one, and few users did not send any emails. And most importantly, they skipped the stages from one stage to the other stage. That is, instead of following the same stage which I informed them, they just updated the deal in the first stage and then they skipped to the third stage. They did not follow the same process which I explained to them. Because of this, as a result, we couldn't even achieve 50% of our target. So we couldn't close more deals. Because of that, we couldn't even achieve 50% of our target. If they had provided some discounts, then we would have closed more deals. That would have increased our business revenue. Many of the users in my company, they did not follow the same process which I told them. Because of that, we lost too many deals and we couldn't even achieve 50% of our target last month. So what is the solution? How can I solve this issue? Any idea? Will another team meeting fix this issue? Definitely not, correct? So I was thinking about one particular feature which should allow my users to follow the exact process which I have defined, and my users should follow the steps which I have mentioned in the process, and they should not skip any stages, and they should perform each and every action which I have mentioned in the process. So I was thinking about one single feature which should not allow my user to skip any stages, and they should perform all the actions mentioned in the process. So that's when Zoho CRM's blueprint comes into picture. So we already discussed about what is a blueprint, right? Blueprint is the online replica of your offline business process. You can implement the same business process which you are following in your company using blueprint feature in Zoho CRM. But how am I going to create that blueprint? What are all the building blocks of the blueprint? So before even creating blueprint, we need to know two main things. First one is state, and the second one is transition. States are nothing but different stages that you have in the business process. In simple terms, blueprints can be created only for pick list fields. So the pick list field values are called as stages. So states are nothing but different stages or the pick list values. Transition. What is this transition? In order to connect two different states, we will be using transition. So transition is used to link two different states in a blueprint. And in that transition, we will be including actions. Example, sending email notification, updating fields, updating notes, adding attachments, adding tags. These are referred as actions. So let me repeat it. In order to create a blueprint, you need to know two important things: states and transition. States are nothing but different stages or the pick list values. And transition is used to connect two different states. And in that transition, you can include the actions: sending emails, adding tags, updating fields. You can trigger custom function. You can update notes. You can add attachments, and you can also validate the information. So let's create a blueprint in the CRM account. And before we proceed further, if you have already created a blueprint in your CRM account, do not disturb that. You can create a test blueprint and check how it works. All right, before we create a blueprint, I want to inform two things. First, imagine a business process. It could be a simple process. You can imagine a business process with few states, and then you can design the pick list field for which you're going to create this blueprint. So two things. First, imagine a business process, and then design the field for which you're going to create this blueprint. Okay? Now, so this is my test account. I'm going to show you how to create blueprint. Click on setup. Setup is the gear icon at the top right corner. You can click on setup, process management. Under process management, the first option is blueprint. You can click on it. And here we have blueprint. And here it will display the blueprint names if you have already created one. And I'm going to switch it to all modules. So here I have already created a blueprint for the leads module. You can see the blueprint name and the module name. Next is we have all drop down, all modules drop down. You can click on it and select the module for which you are going to, for which you have already created the blueprint. So this one is the existing blueprint. So you can see all the information here. Now you will have create blueprint option. You can click on this and create your blueprint. So when you click on this particular button, create blueprint button, the first option is blueprint name. I'm providing the name here. Next, you need to select the module for which you would like to create the blueprint. When you click on this drop down, it will list out the modules that you have in Zoho CRM. Now I'm going to select deals module because first we'll be converting the leads to contacts and then we'll associate a deal. And that's where my business process starts. And this is just an example. You can create blueprint for any module. So here in the drop down, you can see the list of modules that you have. And from here, you can select one of the modules and create the blueprint. So as per my example, I'm going to select deals module. Next, you need to select the layout. You can click on this particular drop down and you can select the layout. And I have selected the standard layout. Next, you need to decide the field for which you're going to create the blueprint. Now, I'm going to select stage. And below this, we have criteria using which you can define the entry criteria. Example, if you would like to trigger this blueprint only for a set of records, then based on the criteria, you can define it here. So example, I'm going to select amount is greater than 10,000. So similar to this, if you have any entry criteria, you can select it here. Now, I would like to trigger this blueprint to all the records. So I'm selecting deal name is not empty. And if you have any description, you can enter it here so that the users can get more information about this blueprint. So yes, first you can click on setup, process management, blueprint, click on create blueprint button, enter the blueprint name, select the module, select the layout, select the field, and if you have any entry criteria, you can define it here and you can click next. So this is how the interface will look like. And yes, I'm going to give you 1 minute time. You all can create the blueprint in your CRM account. You can click on setup, process management, select blueprint, click on blueprint option. That is, click on create blueprint button. Now you can enter the blueprint name. And below that, you will have module option. You can click on the drop down and you can select the module for which you are going to create the blueprint. And below that, please select the layout. And below that, you will have all the pick list field from the specific module. You can select the pick list field for which you would like to create the blueprint. And if you have any questions, please post the questions on the questions box and we'll be happy to answer your questions. And if you have any doubts, you can refer this screenshot and you can click on create blueprint option and select the module and the field. So as of now, I'm not asking you to create the entire blueprint. We are just selecting the module and the field. After which I'll be explaining about the states in transition and how to connect two different states. So after seeing those information, you can include the states and you can create transition. You can check the screenshot which we have attached. So yes, I hope you would have clicked on create blueprint button and you would have selected the module and the field. Yes, this is how the interface will look like. You can see the module name here in the right side and the layout which we selected and the field. This is the field which we selected. And here it shows the criteria, entry criteria for this particular blueprint. And below this entry criteria, we have different stages. So these are nothing but the pick list values of this particular field which we have selected. So here I have selected stage pick list field and here I have the pick list values. So if you have 10 different pick list values, it is not necessary that you have to create blueprint with all the pick list values. You can imagine your business process and include only the required states or the required pick list values. So here I'm going to drag and drop the required pick list values I'm just clicking on the required pick list value and I'm dragging and dropping it here. Okay, the first one is qualification. Next, we'll be proposing the pricing. As per my business process, we'll be sharing the pricing to the customer. Then comes negotiation, and then we will add closed one and then closed loss. So this is my business process. And here, if you could see the screen, I have not included all the states. I have included only the states which I need. So I have added qualification, next value proposition, negotiation, closed one and closed loss. So now, once after adding the states, you need to connect these states. So let's go back to the slides. So do you see here? We are just dragging and dropping the states, required states. And now once after adding the states, you have to click on the state once. You will see this blue color dot. You have to just drag and drop it to the next state, which means we are linking these two states using a transition. You can click on this plus icon and create the transition. We're just entering the transition name. So here I've just included the transition name, get requirement. This is the transition name, and I'm going to click save. Okay, so similar to this, I'm going to connect the other states. Okay, and then from negotiation, I'm going to add two different transition. One from negotiation review to closed one, and the other one is from negotiation review to closed loss. So I'm clicking on it once, and you will see this blue dot. And from here, you can drag and drop and create a transition. And similar to this, again, I'm creating one more transition from negotiation review and I'm adding it to closed loss. Now, I'm just clicking on this plus icon and entering the transition name. So here we are going to provide discount. And here I'm going to send an email. So here I'm naming it as deal one. And I'm going to click on this plus icon and add the last transition, which is deal lost. So these are nothing but the transition names which I have provided. And now you have to click on this transition. And when you click on this transition, you can see three different options. So yes, first you're dragging and dropping the different states which you have in the pick list. That is, you are adding the pick list field values and you're connecting these pick list values using a transition. Yes, I'm going to give you 1 minute time. Now you can drag and drop the different states and you can connect these states using a transition. Yes, the time starts now. Though you have multiple pick list field values, or if you have many pick list values, you can add only the required ones. It could be five fields, or I'm sorry, it could be 5 field values or 6 field values, or it could be 3 or 4. So based on your requirement, just drag and drop the states. You can click on the required state, drag it and drop it into the circle. You can check the screenshot. Same time, if you have any questions, please post it in the questions box on your screen and we'll be happy to answer your questions. So at the moment, we are just creating a test blueprint. So it's not necessary to add all the states. You can add few states and you can connect it using a transition and you can provide the transition names. So it's very simple. You can just drag the states and connect it using transitions, and you can provide the transition names. Yes, I hope you all would have added the states and transition in your blueprint. And the next one is we're going to see the different options which we have in the transition. We have before, during, and after. These are the three main options which we have in a transition. So you can click on a specific transition. Now I have clicked on get requirement transition, and here I have before, during, and after. When you click on before, you can see record owner, which means record owner will have access to this particular transition. Now, if you would like to remove this record owner, you can click on this, and you can click on this option and you can remove it, so that the ownership for this particular blueprint will be applied to all the users throughout the organization. And if you have any specific users, you can click on this user icon and you can add it from here. You can add it from here. So using before option, you can define the users, and only these users are responsible for this transition. In other words, only these users will have access to this particular transition. So for each and every transition, you need to include the users who can access the transition. So here you can select the user, or you can include different users. By default, you will have a record owner. You can click on this minus symbol and you can remove the record owner, and you can include the required users. Next, we have during. From here, you can make notes as mandatory, and you can make attachments as mandatory, and you can even add tags. And below that, you have add button. When you click on it, you can see the module and you can see the fields. So here I have deals. I have selected deals. And when I click on this drop down, it will display the fields which I have in the deals module. So if I have to validate any particular information, I can select the specific field from here, from this drop down, and I can validate it. And then in the after option, we have different actions, which includes email notifications, using which you can send emails to the owner or manager, or even to the record, that is to the leads or contacts. And below this, we have tasks, using which you can create tasks. Field updates, you can select the field and you can enter the value and you can update the field automatically. You can trigger webhooks and custom actions. And even here we have tags, using which you can add tags. So now I'm going to define these actions, and I'm going to define the users, and I'm also going to mandate and validate the information. But I'm going to click on the required transition and I'm going to use these options. So based on my needs, I'm going to select these options. So here first, I'm clicking on get requirement, and here I'm making notes as mandatory, and I'm making attachments as mandatory in this transition. Next, I'm clicking on discount. So the first transition, once after contacting the contact regarding the deal, I want all my users to update the notes section and attach the necessary documents. So that's the reason I have made notes and attachments mandatory. After which we'll be discussing the pricing. And in the next transition, I would like to provide some discount. So here, again, I'm going to include two different users in my company. And here in the during, I'm going to validate the data. So I'm selecting deals from this drop down, and I would like to validate discount person. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, I would like to provide discount, but it should not be more than 10%. It should be less than 10%. So here I'm adding discount fee and I'm validating the data as well. So discount should be less than 10%. So if this condition fails, then I would like to display an alert message to my user. So this is the alert message which I have entered. If the discount is more than 10%, then this alert message should be displayed. So here I have selected discount less than 10. The reason is if this condition fails, which means if my user enters more than 10%, then I would like to display this alert message. So you can enter your own alert message based on your requirements and you can click done. So yes, here we have added discount and we have added the validation as well. So I have entered discount less than 10. If it is more than 10, it should display this particular alert message. And then the record will be moved to negotiation state. And in negotiation state, we have two different transition. I'm clicking on deal one. And here, as I mentioned earlier, I would like to get an email. So I'm clicking on email notification, click on this plus icon, enter the notification name. This is just the email notification name. Click on choose recipients option and select the recipient. So as I said, I would like to add owner, that is record owner, and the record owner's manager. So whenever a deal is marked as closed one, record owner and record owner's manager should get an email. So in the email template, you can include the deal name and the deal amount. So I have added the recipients. I'm clicking on save. And if you have any additional recipients, you can add it here. And now you have to select the template. So I'm clicking on select template option and I've already created a template. So I'm clicking on deal closed one and I have added the template. So if you would like to create a template, you can click on setup, customization, templates. You will have new template option. You can select deals module and you can create a template. After which you can select the particular template from the email notifications here. So yes, I have added all the actions in all the transitions. So in the first transition, I have added notes and attachments and I've made it mandatory. And here I'm providing some discount and I'm validating the data as well. And in the last transition, deal one, I'm sending email. And in the other transition, that is deal lost, I'm going to add a tag. So here I'm clicking on deal lost. And here I'm going to add a tag. So this is a tag. And now I'm going to publish this blueprint. So you will have publish button at the bottom of the page. You can click on it and you can publish the blueprint. So here you can see the name of the blueprint which we created now and the module and the layout and the field for which we have created the blueprint, the last modified time and the status of the blueprint. So this is how you can create the blueprint. Yes. So now I'm going to give you 1 minute time. You can define the users who are responsible for the transition and you can mandate and validate the information using the during option. Next, using the after option, you can automate the routine actions. So using blueprint, you can guide the users in your organization to follow the same business process and you can mandate and validate the information. And you can also automate the routine actions like sending emails or creating tasks or updating fields. You can also trigger custom actions and webhooks. So based on your business requirements, you can include these options. So earlier you added the states and you connected different states using transition and you would have named the transitions. And now you need to click on the transition. You need to click on the specific transition and then you can include these actions. First, add the users so that they will have access to the transition. Next, you can mandate, next you can mandate and validate the information. Next, you can automate the routine actions. So once after creating it, you can click publish button. You can see the publish button at the bottom of the page. you need to click publish. Only then the blueprint will be published. Yes. So I hope you would have created the blueprint and you would have published it as well. So yes, so this screenshot shows how we added the states and how we connected using transition and how we included the actions in the transition. And now we're going to see how it works in the record. So you can see the module for which I have created the blueprint. This is for deals module. Now I'm going to click on deals. And I'm going to create a deal to show you how it works. Now I'm clicking on create deal option. And here you will have stage field. You can see it here. And when you click on it, you can see the different pick list values which you have in this specific field. So the first one is qualification, and I'm clicking on save. So I've saved the record. Now, when you open the record, you can see the current state and the respective transition. So here, this record is in qualification state. So this is a state, and this is the transition. So users, they have to click on the transition and they have to perform the actions which are mentioned in the transition. Only then they will be allowed to move to the next transition. That is, only then the record will be moved to the next state. So I'm going to click on get requirement. So now if you could look at the screen, users, they cannot skip any states. So now they have to click on the transition and they have to update the required information. So in my transition, get requirement transition, I just made notes and attachments mandatory. So you can see it here. So they have to perform these actions. So let's assume that I called this particular contact regarding this deal. And again, this contact is asking for a callback. So, so I have updated the notes. I have entered contact requires callback after 2 hours. So when other users access this particular record, they will have some information. They can check the notes and they can get some information. And now I'm going to upload the required documents. So yes, if you could see the screen, it is not allowing me to move to the next state. So similarly, all the users in the organization, they will follow the same process. They have to click on the state and it will display the transition. They have to click on the transition and they have to perform the required actions. So here I have updated the notes and I have added an attachment and I'm going to save this. So only once after saving this particular transition, the record will be moved to the next state, which is value proposition. And now it is displaying discount. So the users, they have to click on this particular transition discount and they can provide the discount. Now, I have informed my users to provide less than 10% discount. By mistake, if my users are providing more than 10%, then I need an alert message. So here, if you could see the screen, it displays an alert message. Do you see here? Please enter discount less than 10%. So by seeing this alert message, my users, they can change the discount person and then they can save the information. So this is how you can validate the information that you enter in the record. So now I'm saving it. So do you see here? It's saved. Now the record will be moved to the next state, which is negotiation review. And in this state, we have two different transition. So finally, if the contact is okay with this particular deal, I will be marking it as deal one. Otherwise, I'll be marking it as deal loss. So now let's assume that this particular contact is okay with my deal. So I'm going to mark it as deal one. So when I click on deal one, automatically an email will be sent to the record owner and the record owner's manager. So you can create the templates and you can include it. So in my So yes, I have created a template based on deal name and the deal amount. So my managers will get an email wherein they can see the deal name and the deal amount for which they have closed the deal. So this is how you can create a blueprint, and you can select the specific field in the record and it will enter the blueprint, and one by one you have to perform the actions by clicking on the transition buttons, and you can finish off your work. So, yes, this is how you can guide your users to follow the same process. You can mandate and validate the information, and you can automate the routine actions. So, yes, you can try executing your blueprint, and I'm going to give you 1 minute time. You can check how your blueprint works. So, once after publishing, you can go back to the required module. You can create a new record, select the first field value, that is you have to go to the field for which you have created the blueprint, and select the state. I hope you can see the state and transition in your blueprint. You can click on transition and you can execute the actions. Only when you complete the current transition, it will allow you to move to the next transition, that is the record will be moved to the next state and it will display the transition. So one by one you have to perform the transition and the record will be moved to the next states. You can create a test record and check how it works. You can also click on timeline. So here you have timeline. You can click on timeline and you can see all the information. So I created a deal and it entered a blueprint, and you can see the blueprint name with a state qualification. And then one by one we change the state is changed automatically. You see here, from qualification to value proposition to negotiation, and then finally the record exited a blueprint, and the blueprint name is mentioned and the state is also mentioned. So I hope you would have executed your blueprint in your CRM account, and I hope you would have understood how it works. Now, let's see some frequently asked questions regarding this blueprint. First question is, how will I know the number of records that are currently in a blueprint and how many records have completed processing a blueprint? So, how will I know the number of records that are currently in a blueprint? This can be identified by creating a report. So, you can create a report for the required module. You will have reports module in your CRM account. You can click on reports. So you can click on create report. I'm going to create the report for deals module. So this is the primary module. Once after selecting the primary module, you have to click on this plus icon and you have to select the child module. Here I'm going to select the blueprint logs option. And here you can click done and you can click continue. Here you can see the field names. Now I'm going to add the required fields. I'm going to include stage. I've selected stage and I need the blueprint name and the current state and the entered state and the status. So these are the required fields which I have added based on my business needs. So similar to this, you can click on report, you can click on create report option. Select the primary module. In the child module, you can select the blueprint logs, and then you can include the required fields and you can click done. Now, yes, your report is ready. You can see the deal name and the stage and the blueprint name and the current state and the entered state. So this is how you can create blueprints, and you can check the records and the current state. So based on your requirements, you can add the fields, and you can see the number of records that are currently in a particular state in a blueprint. So you can see the blueprint name as well as the current state. So this is how you can create different reports based on your requirements. Yes, the next question is, can I see the list of transitions which I own? Yes, we can see the list of transitions. You can click on My Jobs module. Here you can see the My Jobs module. If you couldn't see it in your account, you can click on these three dots and you can type in My Jobs and it will be listed. So here I have organized my module and it is listed at the top. I'm clicking on My Jobs, and here you will have Blueprint. But before that, make sure that you have few records which have already entered the blueprint. Now I just created one record, and I'm going to click on this particular blueprint option, and it displays all the records in the leads module, because I just created only one record for the deals module. So it is not displaying any records from the deals module. Now let's create one more record and check the results. Okay. I'm going to create one more record in the deals module. And here I'm selecting the first stage, which is qualification. Now the record has entered into the blueprint. Now let's go back to the My Jobs module and check the records which I own in the deals module specifically. So I'm clicking on blueprint. Now, yes, do you see here? This is the record which I created now. It shows the module name and it shows the record owner. And here you have the blueprint name and you have the actions. Now, if you would like to filter it based on a specific user, you have the drop down option here. I'm clicking on all owners and you can see the owner, and I'm clicking on my name and it displays the records. Even further, if you would like to filter it based on modules, yes, you can filter it based on modules and based on users as well. So here it displays the record which I created now, the module name, user name, and the blueprint name and the action. So this is the current transition. So this is how you can see the list of transitions which you own. So this is just a screenshot. You will have My Jobs module. You can click on it. You can click on blueprint and you can see the list of records. If it is in all module, it will display all the module records. If you would like to filter it based on modules or owners, you can click on the drop down next to the all module option, or next to all owner you will have a drop down. You can click on it and you can apply the filter criteria, like you can select the username or you can select the module name and you can filter the records. So yes, with this we have come to the end of this presentation. I hope you all would have understood the importance of blueprint. Yes, blueprint is very much needed to streamline a business process, and I hope you all would have created the test blueprints. Even after this session, you can create the actual blueprint. And if you have any questions even after the session, please drop an email to support@zohocrm.com. And I'm going to hand over this session to Anjana, and she'll be giving you a quick recap. And from my end, I thank each one of you for your time and patience. Thank you.
So in today's session, we saw Pamela. She tried to explain what is blueprint, and she also explained a real case scenario as well. And she also showed us the building blocks of blueprint, which is the states in transition. And we have given you a couple of activities to try on. Not to worry, this session is also recorded. So our team will email this recorded session to you guys. You can try it whenever, in your leisure time as well. So as you can see, our product expert has been answering all the questions. If you have any other questions as well, please pop it in the questions tab. Well, nothing pops up. As Pamela said, you can also email us at support@zohocrm.com. We are available 24 into 5 as well. If you would like to give any testimonials or feedbacks, or if you would like to reach to me or John, you can also email us at evangelist@zohocorp.com. We are available anytime. And we have a couple of upcoming workshops in Zoho CRM as well. On the 27th of July and on the 3rd of August, I'm actually going to pop in the registration link in the chat box. Please make sure you register in by today. This is absolutely for free. And again, Pamela is going to go through the CRM software as well. Any feedback in this session, please feel free to give us, because your opinion definitely matters to us. So once you exit the session, there's a form which pops up. Please make sure you answer them. So I once again take this opportunity on behalf of Zoho team. Please make sure you stay safe, take care, and I hope to see you guys next week. Thank you very much.